Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Sox on Tap.
Tony, my first reaction is just, fuck yes, let's go.
Sox versus Detroit. That's where it all starts. It all starts taking care of business in-house in the Central Division.
That's right, I'm a meatball.
You got to bring that top button swag, baby.
It is always great to beat the Cubs.
And I'm a homer, so I always say they're gonna.
Dallas Keuchel Lansing got some beards that you should be afraid of.
What everybody said when he gets out there, it's me versus the other guy, and I'm going to beat him. So I just love that mentality. It's cool and fucking tough.
Steve, would you say that Tony is mad online?
I would definitely say that.
The White Sox winner.
White Sox fans, welcome into a winning edition of the Sox on Tap post-game show. It's Jonnie Nani here alongside Tony Marchese. Tony, absolute blowout in Detroit today. White Sox pile on 13 hits, 22 runs. That calls for some major victory beer action.
It absolutely does, Johnny. I love it. We're talking about a sweep. 3 in a row against the Detroit Tigers, and we all know, Johnny, it all starts right here in the Central Division. This was a very refreshing sip of beer, and this is a very refreshing time to be talking about White Sox baseball.
That it is indeed. I like that, Tony. That's a good, dual meaning there. I enjoy it. I enjoyed seeing all of the White Sox hits today. We have been waiting for an offensive explosion. I think it really happened last time when you're talking about really pounding out a team and just it being over before it, even really gets into any of the latter innings, was probably back in Detroit, last game of the first series of the year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the Sox kind of took care of the Chicago Cubs at home in that series. You saw some good there. You saw some good in Boston, I believe, Johnny, too. But really, just ass whooping.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
looking for. We've had a few wins where we've hung it on pretty good, but ass whooping is what I'm. This
was an ass whooping.
Yeah, an ass whooping in the parking lot. That's what they did. It was outstanding to see, and we had
it was a whooping, Johnny.
Coming from all up and down the lineup too, Tony. That's what's most exciting about this, because obviously you get a nice 9 runs on Monday night, but it's kind of Jose Abreu really driving that bus there with the 4 RBIs production. So now you had Yoan Moncada 5-hit, 5 RBI day, multi-hit days from Pollock, Vaughn, Abreu, Harrison, Zavala. Granted, the Tigers had 3 position players pitching at points at the end of this ball game, but we kind of pad the stats there a little bit, but damage was done before that, and the impactful big hits were all accrued before that.
Yeah, I mean, this was just today's ball game was just the culmination of the entire series, Johnny, where you go back to these last 2 games, he's really good, and then today you come out there, and like I said, you just whip their asses. You talk about Yoan Moncada finally breaking out. If I want to just say some initial thoughts here, Johnny, my first initial thought is Yoan Moncada actually showed up to the ballpark today, went out there, got some shit done, and look at what this offense can do when you have that bat working. It's nice to see.
He looked like he had fun doing it too, which I think is a big part of it. Because you and I talked a little bit on this show last night about it was nice to hear Andrew Vaughn finally use the term "good vibes" in that. Well, this was good vibes all throughout, up and down. And Yoan Moncada, his teammates were happy for him. He was extremely happy, in both during the game and after when he was interviewed as well. So I like to see that, and obviously just the production. We needed to get this bat going. You and I talked about the importance of that when we kind of had a more elaborate discussion on our Sunday Funday episode a few days ago, Tony. So, like I said, 5 hits, 5 RBIs, and he set the tone early because he opened the scoring with a 3-run bomb in the top of the first. Nice little cushion there for Vinny Velo.
It was a nice little cushion for Vinny Velo. And Johnny, just we talked about scoring first, scoring early in these ball games on this show not too long ago. Again, here it is, scoring first, setting the tone, doing everything that we talked about earlier on this season. This is exactly what I thought we were going to get from White Sox baseball a lot more often. It sucks that it took this long before we were talking about a real first beatdown of the 2022 season. I mean, this was, man, And it all started with Yohan Moncada. That was the last guy I thought. I think Buzz on Tap had him in our pick to click today. So a little golf clap for Buzz there, taking Yohan. But that's what this offense needs. Day in, day out, somebody to show up and have a day like that. You saw Andrew Vaughn the other day, 4-hit game. Now you see it, surpassed with a 5-hit game for Moncada today, and that first one being a homer, the most important out of all of them, Johnny. So I don't know what I just witnessed, but I want more.
Well, you witnessed a sweet swing and a bat drop when we're talking about that first inning home run. Very nice to see that, because we all know, you love him or hate him, you cannot deny that Yohan Moncada has one of the sexiest swings in the game, Tony.
You can't, and that's what makes him all the more frustrating, right? Is because the sound of the ball off of this kid's bat, the bat drop, it's not quite Griffey, but when he gets a hold of one, especially from the left side of the plate, it's just such a sweet natural swing. You want to see more of that. You want to see more balls leave the yard. It felt like it was forever ago since Yohan Moncada left the yard in that fashion. And that's more of the classic stuff that you wanted to get back to. So it's good when it shows up. It's going to it makes me want more of it, Johnny.
Right.
I want more.
You know what really made me want more is when he first came back, because obviously he started the year on the injured list, didn't come back until early May in thereabouts. And when he came back, it wasn't all terrible. People forget, sure, the stretch lately, and it was a long stretch where it was very terrible. But at first, he took a little tiny bit to settle back in, but then he had a big home run against the Yankees. He had another home run too. I think it was all within his first, I want to say, 7 to 8 games there. So it's okay, you're maybe he's actually going here to start. And then obviously what happened. He fell off the cliff and couldn't do anything, barely even get on base in that stretch. So we love our listeners commenting in here. Make sure you subscribe to On Tap Sportsnet on YouTube so you can join the conversation like our guy Sockside Mike does frequently. He's got a comment in here, Tony. He says the White Sox will be a playoff team if Yo-Yo and Abreu are hitting weekly dingers. #facts. Is this #facts only, or is this BS?
I think this is #facts only, Johnny. And sorry to borrow a term from our guy Steve. You can almost #confirm this just reading this. If they're doing this consistently, this team's going to be a problem. You're going to need that, though. And that's not the only way that I think this team makes the playoffs. But if you get Yohan Moncada to just get up above, yeah, but I think Moncada's the guy that's really going to carry it. I expect this from Jose Abreu going forward for the rest of the year. That's why I was going to finish this up here with Johnny. I expect it from Jose Abreu. The guy that I don't expect it from right now, because he hasn't done it consistently enough, is Yohan Moncada. So I think it's more on him.
#facts only. I agree with you. I'm right there with you. You wrap that one up there well. Once again, subscribe to On Tap Sportsnet on YouTube. Join the conversation here. We love interacting with the listeners as we go. So, Tony, as we go through the rest of this, I'd mentioned a few of these other names. Hey, how about AJ Pollock continuing his multi-hit game streak? I think he's up to 7 now with 2 more of them today. You get Andrew Vaughn with 3. That guy is just a hitting machine. I got an interesting take here on Andrew Vaughn. And you know why Andrew Vaughn is such a good hitter?
Lay it on me.
Okay. It's because, A, he has the God-given ability. He was born with it. He was a natural hitter. He was the best hitter in his draft class coming out. That's indisputable. Obviously, there's that. But he spent such a short amount of time in the White Sox farm system that they couldn't fuck him up.
Ooh. This is some tinfoil hat stuff from Johnny Nani after a sweep. This is what it's all about. I was just about to ask you though. I love where your head's at on this, because look at other guys who came up, early and throughout their White Sox tenure and didn't spend a lot of time in the minor league system. I'd say on average you probably have some more of the productive White Sox names over the last 20 years, Johnny. Guys who didn't spend time in our minor leagues developing. Just an odd stat there. And that goes for the pitching side too.
Yeah, it's my disdain for our player development program there, and Chris Getz heading that up there. I'm not a fan. I haven't been a fan because these guys have been underperforming overall, at least in my mind, for where my expectations were to where their production level is. And I understand not every guy is going to be, a superstar, but we had so many of them that some of them were bound to. Same with, like, that's the other thing, like Luis Robert. Sure, he went through the ranks, but he is one guy that you physically cannot fuck up because he is built like an Under Armour mannequin on steroids. So that's just my take there. I had to air it out there on Andrew Vaughn because that's what I thought as I saw him smash 3 more hits today in this ball game.
Well, you know, getting look at the production out of the first 2 guys in this lineup over the past week. And you've got 2 guys that are putting up multiple hit ball games and setting the table for the middle of the order to drive him in. Who would have thought that that's how you pile up runs and win ball games, Jonnie? Like, why didn't we try this sooner? I don't know. I don't want to get.
Why did we try the consistency in those 1 through 4 sooner? Tony playing his, mix and match and all these games. And granted,
where do you slot Pollock though when Timmy comes back?
Yeah, see, that's an interesting question, Tony, and I do not have a good answer for you right now because I really like AJ Pollock in the leadoff role, but at the same time, Timmy is your set the tone guy, and he is a better average guy than AJ Pollock, right?
He is, but you know what? When AJ Pollock is streaky, Jonnie,
right?
When AJ Pollock is streaky and he's getting on base this way, yeah, I like the steal threat from Timmy, and we can go back and forth on this all day. I think it's an interesting tidbit. But can you move everybody else down and maybe Timmy hits 2 or 3? I don't know. If he's going to hit the ball all around, I don't know.
I think the
leadoff spot's his though.
Yes, I think Tim Anderson has earned that, and obviously, like I said, the average. He's always the highest average guy on the team, right? That's you can't argue with that. So I would say that goes back to him, and I think even us having this discussion will sort itself out. Like I said, I don't have a good answer, but I think just natural progression of these games and trends and what happens here. I would love AJ Pollock to just continue this multi-hit game streak all the way through the end of the season. That ain't going to happen. So he's going to go back into not a slump, I would say, but he's going to cool off at some point, right? And then that will be the natural flow of, okay, he's got to drop down here. And like another thing is with like Jake Berger, obviously he's been out for the last 2 games of the series after the weird kind of being struck in the hand, bruised hand that he's dealing with. Same with him. He was mashing and people said, oh, you got to keep his bat in the lineup. And I agree 100%. But at some point too, he is probably going to be, being as young as he is, he's probably going to decrease a little bit in the frequency of the, home runs and the, extra base hits that he was generating. And that would, kind of leave it to a point to where, okay, we can use him on the bench like today and, give him a day off because we're riding the hot hand elsewhere. I think it can kind of play itself out like that. But at the same time, these are good problems to have, Tony.
These are good problems to have. And for once, everything feels better after a sweep. Everything feels better after a just trouncing of Detroit. But for once you're looking at this and we're talking about it in a totally different light than we normally are, Jonnie. The normal discussion is like, we've got too many of the same guy. When the other guys are producing, all of a sudden it doesn't feel like you have too many of the same guy when half of your team's fucking injured and you're still throwing out a formidable lineup and sweeping people. So, I mean,
right. It's a different discussion.
It's a totally different discussion right here. Now, I just don't know where you put AJ Pollock in this order. Maybe you drop him down to about 6 or 7. I don't know if Harrison's going to be there. I'm leaving Danny Mendick batting 9, playing second base when this is all over.
I think, I want to bring up a take that our guy, Billy Reffeld, had today. And he said it's pretty easy once Timmy's back. And that is you move Mendick to second. And it kind of sorts itself out there. Harrison gone, Lurie on the bench in the utility role that we know that he should be here for and used just as defensive replacement and only, once or twice a week when guys need days off as needed there. I think that's a pretty good synopsis of it. It seems very common sense wise, but we'll have to see what they do.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they do. I think there was a quote that came out on Twitter today. I think it was our guy Daryl again, who put this out there, asked Tony La Russa about moving Mendick over to second base once Timmy returns. And he was kind of following the same wavelength, said, he's obviously been swinging a hot bat and you want to keep him in the lineup. So it's something that they're going to look at. It feels very common sense, Jonnie, at this point. It feels very common sense. That's the move.
Yeah, I agree. Some things are just, don't overthink it, right?
Yep.
seems like that should be the answer. Just let it be the answer. That's where I stand on that. All right, Tony, it wasn't all offense today too, because obviously the White Sox shut out the Tigers in this one. Vince Velasquez returns from the injured list to get the start. Kyle Crick unfortunately heads to the IL to make that roster space for Velasquez. More on that on tapsportsnet.com. But Vince Velasquez goes 2 2/3, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Tony, I know we had talked about this a little before we jumped on. I think we probably wanted a little more length out of Velasquez, just given how, taxed the bullpen has been as of late. But in his work there, it would have been really easy to be lax, especially being spotted a 3-run lead coming in. I thought the stuff was crisp. I thought he was hitting locations. Our guy Sox Insane pointed out on Twitter, said, Vinny Velo was on here, and I believe that was in the second inning when he was, painting some corners for a backwards K on that. And then obviously a little bit of a single, and then he made an error of his own that was kind of a tweener play going over to first, just kind of was trying to tag the guy or flip it before he even got the ball in his glove. So that's eventually what spells him. You said it was a good hook, and I agree there. Probably frustrated with himself a little bit, but I still think he gave you a very serviceable there, almost 3 innings. And then obviously we'll set up the next guy that we're talking about, because I think you have some thoughts on Davis Martin, who came in for relief.
I do have some thoughts on Davis Martin. And before we get there, let's close the book here on Vinny Velo. First game back, your job's to go out there right now. This bullpen has been tattered and torn. You've got to give something serviceable. The offense did a fucking wonderful job setting him up with a nice little lead to work with. He went out there and he did everything that he was asked to do. The reason I like the hook in that is basically because of what you said. Would have been easy to get lax, let the Tigers back into this ball game, get yourself into trouble. But you're basically just getting his feet wet back. And once this rotation, assuming that Michael Kopech is going to pitch this weekend, we don't have all those details worked out here yet.
Not hashtag confirmed yet.
Not hashtag confirmed. But Vinny Velo is probably going to be a 2-3 inning swing reliever guy, maybe spot starter in case anything else happens. You don't need to work him 5, 6, 7 innings today. Not that he was going to go 7, but even if he was being really efficient, I felt like he was going to come out of this ball game somewhere around the 40 to 60 pitch mark. And that's exactly what happened, Johnny. That allows you to then go use Velasquez over the weekend if you need him in a relief role. And I thought it was just perfect. We'll have to see how the rest of the rotation shakes out. But overall, we'll talk about Davis Martin here and what that means for the White Sox pitching staff, especially now that you have a day off tomorrow.
Yeah, right. I think that's a good point there, because Vinny Velo, obviously with Johnny Cueto, most likely, I know it was weird setup just with the Kopech injury on Sunday, and then Cueto coming in, pitching basically starter innings there, but not actually being the starter that day. But Cueto's, your guy in the rotation more, and they've sent Vinny Velo out to the bullpen to be, like you'd said, that kind of length guy out there to kind of accompany Reynaldo Lopez in that role, kind of the as needed, as we discussed last night when we were talking about Raylo a little bit. But let's talk Davis Martin just real quick here. 5 1/3, 3 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 3 strikeouts. He cleaned up that only threat, which he came on with runners on first and second, 2 outs in his, was that in the 3rd inning there. Cleaned that up, no problem. Wasn't really any threats the rest of the day between him and Jose Ruiz to lock this ball game down, Tony.
No, there was not even a sign of life at all for Detroit today. I mean, they were completely broken. I love the fact that Davis Martin goes out and works 5 1/3, only gives up 3 hits. If that was his start, you remove Velasquez, that's a solid day work for Mr. Davis Martin at the big league level. Again, I'll just put this into perspective, and maybe a Tigers fan or two might not appreciate it, but this is AA work for Davis Martin, and he went out there and he shoved. So good shit there from Davis. He got the job done. He also saved your bullpen, giving them basically 2 days off.
Yes.
2 days off for everybody else in that pen outside of Ruiz, who comes in and works his inning. But everybody else gets to take a breather now for 2 days in a row and just settle themselves down. I thought when Martin came in, The ball game's still not completely out of hand, Johnny. Sox had a comfortable lead, but we've watched this story all year. You've watched somebody come in and just have all sorts of trouble. No, he was on cruise control from the minute he took that ball, and he took it as far as he could, and he only had to hand it over to one other guy to get the job done. That is cool and tough. Like, you want to give out a game ball today? If it's not going to Yoan Moncada, I'm giving it to Davis Martin because he did a hell of a job letting the other guys get some rest, going out there, shoving, and just absolutely taking control of this ball game from the pitching side, and it was his ball game.
How about we do 2 game balls? I'll give mine offense, Yoan Moncada. You give yours pitching side. Go to Davis Martin. I think that's a fair trade. Yep. I think that's a fair split there. And so then while I'm on my point, since I'll be offense guy here, props to the offense. Obviously, we already gave them a bunch of praise here at the beginning of this episode, but putting pairs of runs up in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th inning to make Davis Martin that comfortable. Obviously, like you said, a 3-0 when he enters the game, but after pitching that 1 out to get out of Velasquez's only mini jam of the day that you could say for the White Sox that they ever faced, he's already got 2 more runs then before he even has to go out and then throw another pitch there. So you're up 5. So all around solid goddamn ball game by the White Sox. 13-0. We love blowouts and Brooms, Tony.
Yes, we do. We love blowouts and Brooms.
And victory beers. Yeah. All right. So as we run down our pick the clicks here, I don't think anybody missed, Tony. I guess maybe Sean would be like the lowest man on the totem pole here with Robert. I think he only had 1 hit today. But NWI Steve with Zavala, he gets a massive jack. That was good to see Sebi leave the yard.
Almost had 2 today.
Yeah, he almost had 2. I had Jose Abreu. He had multi-hit days. Granted, a couple of them came against position players there, but hey, they had the stats, baby. Run it up. I love it. And then obviously Buzz wins this thing overall with Yoan Moncada's breakout day, the 5 RBIs. That's always cool and tough. And then you had AJ Pollock. Hey, just continuing that multi-hit streak game there. That's a goddamn good slate of picks, but they credit to the offense for giving all of us, at least one in one little checkbox that we can all put there. Maybe Buzz gets 5.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a good day all around showing from the White Sox. It was a good showing from the Sox on Tap picks to click, and they made it easy for us. They made it really easy for us. We need
like the Staples button. We need the Sox on Tap. That was cool and tough.
Yes.
A button,
That was cool and tough. Weren't we sitting here yesterday? Somebody was in the comments said like Fado was going to be like really hard to hit. It's going to be tough. And then the Sox went out.
Said it would be tough.
Yeah. Good day from the offense.
Yeah, a pretty damn solid day from the offense. So, Tony, I love that. That about wraps that up there, though. White Sox will have a day off on Thursday before traveling to Houston, and we will get to that series in a little bit there. It's a big 3-game weekend series down in Houston, a couple of nationally televised games there. But before we do that, there was some pregame, movement. Obviously, I talked about the roster moves with Velasquez coming back, Crick to the IL. So you just don't like to see, it sucks. These guys are a little bit beaten up. It's kind of like the, 1 in, 1 out theme that we've unfortunately become too accustomed to here. But the bigger news was Liam Hendriks speaking on his injury, Tony. And he says he has pitched with a tear in his UCL since 2008. News to all of us White Sox fans here. Everyone was a little shocked by this. And he also said he's targeting a July 1 return. So that was a little ambitious to me. And obviously the claim that he's pitched with a tear in his UCL. Can you imagine throwing triple digits, hitting him pretty consistently with a tear in your UCL, let alone maybe just like a sore shoulder? Holy shit. This guy's insane.
Yeah, he is. But let's preface it with this, Johnny. If there's a pitcher in Major League Baseball that would come out and say, yeah, I've had a tear in my UCL since 2008 and I've been dealing with it, it's Liam Hendriks. Like, he's got to be on the short list of guys who you would even consider those words coming out of his mouth. We were sitting there yesterday. We were kind of discussing, like, you've said this over and over again. You're like, I hear forearm, I hear Tommy John. I hear forearm, I hear 2 years, and wow. I mean, that's just, I don't know the extent of it. I don't know, obviously, it brings up questions. Did the Sox know that he had this? Has this been common knowledge amongst team executives throughout his career? Can this be, validated? I guess it takes a lot for a closer to come out and just say, like, yeah, my arm's been fucked. for a very long time, and I'm still powering through it. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of guys where they get a slight tear and they're done for 2 years, Johnny. And that it's just wild to me to hear that he goes out there and deals with that. Obviously, now knowing that, you can kind of understand where there was no IL stint, what's going on, how bad is this? Probably Liam having to talk, his wishes and how he wants to handle this injury into, Tony La Russa and Ethan Katz and everybody. I don't know how long the history is of those guys knowing about this. This is very wild to me. Like, this is a wild story.
I would imagine that there was some, disclosure, right, in the whole process. He
had to have been
interviewing him to do that. But obviously, you saw, if he's had this since 2008, he obviously won multiple Reliever of the Year awards while having this. So that makes that, in my mind, all the more impressive. But
why does it calm my nerves, but also make me more nervous?
Yeah,
knowing that that's the case.
Well, now with the comments there, it is Daryl Van Schouwen, the Chicago Sun-Times beat reporter, who had elicited this comment from Liam Hendriks. So all credit to him there on this. If you go and watch the full clip, there's an article up at ontapsportsnet.com. I included the full clip with some additional commentary quotes that he had in there. So go and check that out if you want the full rundown of what Liam Hendriks said. But he said it was a little bit more elbow inflammation that had spiked up just recently this year, is what he said was a culprit.
5 games in a row.
And he said it was a mild strain. And they're working on it. Obviously, Rick Hahn said Tuesday that Liam will receive treatment. They will see how he responds to that. Preliminary timeline's 3 weeks. And then as Liam kind of closed out those comments by saying he kind of agreed with Hahn there. So they say 3 weeks, and I am targeting a July 1 date. Usually you don't get these exact concrete dates, especially from players saying that. So I thought that was, at least like you'd said, that's where it kind of like gives me a little more peace of mind in a way. I do feel, we'll say, because you and I was concerned. You remember I said I was concerned online last night, did I not?
You did.
I did. Now I am a little bit. I still am, but a little bit less.
That's good. And maybe Liam just wanted you to sleep better at night, Johnny.
Hey, and if Liam did that just so I could sleep better at night, even if it's just for these 3 weeks here to close out June and go into early July, I thank you, Liam. Thank you. I really hope it. I mean, I know he's a competitor. He wants to be out there, but you're helping this White Sox fan, and I would assume I'm not the only one, sleep a little better at night here through the rest of these kind of as we creep into some dog days of summer here.
Yeah, I guess the part that still leaves me just the slightest bit concerned, Johnny, is you don't want this cropping up, say, September 30th.
Right. Maybe it's good for a while and then spikes up. Yeah.
And so this goes back to some of the stuff that, Johnny, we talk about in, resting guys and days off early on in the season and, why you don't have the best 9 out there all the time. And everybody wants to complain, when the team loses a ball game because guys weren't available. I'm doing the same thing. I'm pissed off about it. But, you start to take some of these things into perspective. Johnny, I know Liam Hendriks is a hockey guy. I think we need more White Sox players who are hockey guys because this is cool and fucking tough.
Yes, I agree 100%. Stanley Cup Finals starting tonight. I wonder who Liam's rooting for there tonight. So we'll be checking out of here this show early so I can go and check out the Stanley Cup Final, Tony. I think that was a good discussion there on Liam Hendriks. Let's move on to the weekend series. Obviously a big one starting Friday night. It'll be on Apple TV, 7:10 p.m. start from H-Town. Lucas Giolito going up against Framber Valdez. Tony, Astros are a tough team. Let's not put the cart before the wagon here. But facing a lefty in game 1 here, I think this is a really good opportunity for the White Sox to A, continue their momentum from this week, and B, #set the tone for the weekend.
Are you jacked up a little bit more for this series, Johnny?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm feeling it. I'm normally not a fan of the off day. I hate it. I think this is a great thing that the Sox are off tomorrow. I think everybody needs it. I think everybody needs a little bit of rest on that roster. Hope Jake Berger's hand's starting to get a little bit better. You got a day to kind of collect yourselves and really reflect on
reset too.
Bullpen reset. But for the offense, reflect on what went right over these last few games. Gel as a team, get yourselves together, maybe let the boys have a night tonight to really soak in just, victory and go into this series, because this is the first time you're facing the team that just knocked you out of the playoffs last year. And there was some animosity, Johnny, between these two teams, especially over the course of last season. I want blood, man. Like, I want the White Sox to go out there and continue to do this. But you just said it. This is, if it's not the Yankees, it's the Houston Astros that are going to be a problem for the rest of the American League for a couple more years. And you're going to have to run through them at some point. Yeah. So I know that the tone around this team all year has not been great. This is a big series. I'm a little jacked up for it.
Huge. I'm jacked up as well, Tony. So I think we all should be. And like I said, we'll be in the national spotlight. It's one of those Apple TV broadcasts on Friday night. Well, by the way, pro tip, since it's Apple TV, I need to reiterate this. I said this back when we were on the first time. Do yourself a favor. Go on and pull up the Apple TV stream, and then pull up your secondary device. Make sure it's connected to a speaker, and go on. And you don't have to. There's no blackouts for radio stuff. So go on to the MLB app. Go and press the little headphones button in the corner, pull up Len and DJ on the radio, and then just sync it. You can pause the Apple TV thing or like rewind 15 seconds or whatever it is, 10 seconds might be, and sync it up so DJ and Len are calling it and not whatever crew they have up there. You get yourself a White Sox broadcast there. That's just a little nanny tip there. But either way, Tony, like I said, in the national spotlight, that's what I'm getting at here. Sunday night is, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. We'll see if that's Kopech, possibly win there. But big series, you can make a statement. I remember after that Yankees series and they came back and shat the bed against Boston at home, I said, when are they going to make a statement? And I wrote an article about it, posted it on tapsportsnet.com. Well, this is the time to do so. This is absolutely the time to do so. And I think you can do so by, obviously, a sweep would be great. We'd love to keep, blowouts and brooms going here. That just ain't realistic against the Astros here if we're, evaluating objectively. But 2 of 3, I think, can be a nice statement here this weekend.
2 of 3 would be great. You want the good vibes, Johnny. The good vibes. That's what we want out of this series. Do not get swept. Do not get swept. Absolutely, because we will be back in the 7th circle of White Sox fan hell if we get swept.
On the flip side, once again, from our comments here, Sockside Mike says, if we take 2 of 3, are we officially #back? Tony?
I mean, I don't write the rules of, the rest of every other White Sox fan's minds. So I would say, to me, yes, because you took care of business in your division. You handled the Yankees very well this year. And you handled the Astros very well up until this point. So if you take 2 out of 3, I think that sets the tone. You've got another series against them later on in the year to officially #confirm it. But last year, I remember everybody going back to records against playoff teams when we got to October, or even early in September, late August. This was a topic of discussion. We haven't made it there yet because there's not enough data. That will be a point of discussion if the White Sox are in playoff contention, which our guy Steve said yesterday that they'd be far out of on the Twitters.com. But Johnny, they're going to go back to these records. They're going to look at what the White Sox body of work is against good playoff teams. And if the Sox can take 2 out of 3 from the Houston Astros with the rest of the work that they've done this season, I think you can say that they're #back, at least in my mind.
Right. I think it's more when you're talking about that. Obviously, there's still work to do in the numbers in terms of climbing back up. A, the standings. B, getting above 500. All of that. And Sockside Mike makes another good point. A lot of games against the Twins coming up can really gain some ground there. So yes, there's work to be done there, but it's more mentality. It's more morale for me when you're talking about are they #back. And obviously today a good stepping stone, but you need to climb to the top of the staircase there, and this can help you do that in terms of a morale. Kind of emotional standpoint there. Obviously, they got a big emotional cog back in Lance Lynn. So I think that's big. He'll likely be starting one of those first games against the Blue Jays if he doesn't take Kopech's spot Sunday night down in Houston. So yeah, I would agree with that and say that they are hashtag back in my mind. Like I said, it's just me and you talking here. If they take 2 of 3 from Houston this weekend. So, and I hope the fashion in which they do it is reflective of what they have done, heating up offensively over the past, kind of week and a half here or so. I would say that's a good kind of time frame when you're talking about offense finally stepping up here. So, Tony, for this first game in Houston, give me a pick to click.
You know what, Johnny? I want to take Luis Robert because I want him to start to show up on the more national stage, because he should be the next superstar to kind of just like pour a game on. Like, you've seen Yohan Moncada come have a game. You saw Jose Abreu have a game over this past series. It's time for Luis Robert to have an absolute game. 2-3 hit effort. One of them leaves the yard. A couple stolen bases.
I think you really want to see him put one on those train tracks up there.
I would love that. I would love to see him like just absolutely launch one and break the train.
Yeah.
Just break it.
Yeah. Derail it.
Do some damage. Yeah. Yes. Severe
literal
damage.
Some literal damage.
Yes. Damage.
Okay. I like that.
Luis Robert.
All right. I'm going to go with AJ Pollock. Let's keep that multi-hit game streak going. I like that. I'm going to go with AJ Pollock.
It's a good pick. I had him today. Served me well.
Yep. All right. So, Tony, we're just about out of time here. Listeners, we all thank you for tuning in and, joining in the comments here. We always appreciate it. Pulled up a bunch of them, had some good points of discussion here today. So to get in on that conversation, once again, subscribe to OnTap Sportsnet on YouTube. You can get, click that notification thing so you know when we go live. You can jump in after White Sox games and discuss it with us here, good or bad. We welcome it all. So other than that, listeners, go to ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Give us a follow on social media at Sox on Tap and at OnTap Sportsnet. Time for final thought. Now let's get the hell out of here, Tony.
Big series coming up, Johnny. White Sox are riding high into this one, which is exactly how you'd like to draw this up. Go and take care of business. I think 2 of these games are going to be on the national stage. Sox have done fairly well there. This is another one of those. I think earlier we had like a statement series that we felt was going to be big. I got the same feeling and more for this one. Let's hope the White Sox offense continues to swing hot bats. Let's hope the pitching staff is well rested and ready to go into this one. I'm excited. It's going to be a good weekend for White Sox baseball.
Blowouts and Brooms are cool and tough. Victory beers are cool and tough. Please let us have some more of those over this weekend and be the boys of summer. Be the boys of summer. I love the cover of that song by the Ataris. It's in White Sox Ballpark Mix Volume 4. My pinned tweet on Twitter at Nani Jonnie. Handle right below here. Go and check that out. Always nice to blast that after a win. That's what I'm about to go and do. Watch some hockey, Tony. That's all I've got. Until next time, White Sox forever.
White Sox forever.